Hello students, today I will be continuing my lecture from the topic I left in the last lecture. In the last lecture we were discussing the important terms related to BCS theory, wherein I discussed what is Cooper pair and what is coherence length. So in today's lecture I'll be starting with the last term related to energy gap, related to BCS theory, and that is energy gap. Energy gap here is represented as, it's a triangle, so del 0, or you can also say Eg. Now please do not misinterpret this energy gap with semiconductors. We are dealing with the chapter superconductivity. So how do you define energy gap? The energy gap between the free state of an electron and the bounded or paired state of an electron in a superconducting material is called energy gap. So you can say it is basically the difference between the energy of electron before it is paired and after it is paired. In the last lecture, we discussed BCS theory, wherein we say that electron pairs with another electron through phonons. So before pairing, the energy is more than pairing, is more than after pairing. So this gap between the energies is what is known as energy gap Eg. Now the normal electron states are always above the energy gap, but we say that superconducting energy states are below the energy gap. Now energy gap for a superconductor is always a function of temperature. Now we know that pairing will be very strong. You can say pairing is complete if the temperature is 0 Kelvin. In the last lecture, I discussed that if you are moving towards 0, that is on the left side of the x-axis, you can say that your pair becomes more and more strong. See, T is equals to 0 is not achievable temperature, but we say that if you are moving towards 0 Kelvin, and if we just assume that at exactly the temperature is 0 Kelvin, we say that our pairing is complete. What does this mean? The energy difference between free and paired state will be maximum, because if the pairing is very strong, that it means that the energy has reduced much. So if the energy has reduced more, the gap is going to be more. So we say that at T is equals to 0 Kelvin, the energy gap will be maximum. Similarly, we say that if we are moving towards the right hand side of the x-axis, that is if we are moving towards Tc, we say that the pairing dissolves. Why? Because at Tc, the moment you reach Tc, your material is no more a superconductor. It will enter into normal state. So if it is a normal state, there will be no concept like pairing of electrons. So we do not have any pair after T is equals to Tc. So we say that at T is equals to Tc, because there is no paired state, there will be no energy difference, and so we say that energy gap is 0. Now this is just a formula you need to remember for numericals. According to the BCS theory, the energy gap Eg can be defined as 3.53 kb into Tc. What is kb here? Kb means the Boltzmann constant. Its value is 1.38 into 10 raised to minus 23 joule per Kelvin, and Tc is known as the critical temperature. So this topic gives an end to the topic BCS theory. So BCS theory, we discussed what is electron-electron interaction through a phonon. We discussed what are the evidences of BCS theory, their isotopic effect and variation of specific heat. Then we discussed two types of explanations related to BCS theory, that is the mechanism of superconductivity, and lastly three definitions related to BCS theory: Cooper pair, energy gap, coherence length. I hope the topic is clear. Now let me move on to the next and the most important topic. Now this is a topic which is recently been added to your GTU syllabus. So this is known as penetration depth. It is denoted as lambda L, or you can also call it London penetration depth. Why is the name London given to it? Because the two physicists who found out this effect are namely, they are called London brothers, namely F. London and H. London. So this is basically a concept which was proposed in the year 1935 by London brothers, F. London and H. London. What did they do in this effect? They actually modified some essential laws of electrodynamics to obtain Meissner effect without altering Maxwell's equations. Now what do you mean by Meissner effect? Meissner effect means For a superconductor, if you apply magnetic field to a superconductor, what happens? The magnetic field lines will not pass through the superconductor. They will be repelled. They will be expelled from the superconductor. This was discussed when I was explaining the topic of properties of superconductor. This is a very, very important topic from the chapter Meissner effect. Now, the physical significance of penetration depth, it pertains to the failure of Meissner effect to occur abruptly at the surface of superconductor rather than the magnetic field penetrates slightly into the bulk of superconductor and then decay. What does this sentence mean? Meissner effect says that if you take a ring of a superconductor and if you apply magnetic field to it, the magnetic field will not pass through the ring. But what does this London penetration depth say? It says that the magnetic field line will definitely enter into the bulk. That means it will enter into the superconductor and it is going to decay. That means there is something occurring which will oppose the magnetic field. So the only difference between Meissner effect and the effect proposed by London brothers is that this Meissner effect says, both of them say that magnetic field is opposed. Meissner effect says it is opposed outside the superconductor, and London brothers say that it is opposed inside the superconductor. So they also tried to prove Meissner effect only. They are not opposing Meissner's effect, but they are proving it in some other way. So let us see in detail. So first, let me tell you the definition of penetration depth. There are two definitions which I have written here. Try to remember any one of them. It is just the different sentence formation. So London penetration depth, that is lambda L, is the distance up to which a magnetic field penetrates a superconductor before decaying. Or you can say that the exponential decay of magnetic field at the interior surface of a superconductor is called penetration depth. This means the distance at which the magnetic field becomes E times weaker. We say E times means there will be a decay like this. Exponentially it decays. Let us see the formula and then the diagram explaining the definition. So lambda L is defined as square root of mc square upon 4 pi ns into E square. What is m? It is known as mass of charge carriers. 4 pi is a constant. Ns is known as the charge carrier density. So in a meter cube, how many charge carriers are present? That is what is Ns. E is the charge of an electron, and the term c here denotes speed of light. There is a relation, I think you must be remembering, you had studied this in 12th standard, that C is equals to 1 upon under root of epsilon naught mu naught. What is epsilon naught? It is known as the absolute permittivity. Its value is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 farad per meter. Similarly, mu zero is known as the absolute permeability. It is its value is 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7 Henry per meter. So this is a term related to electrostatics and this is a term related to magnetism. Now let us understand the definition through a diagram. Suppose I consider magnetic field on the y-axis and suppose I consider this as the distance. So this line from here we say that our superconductor starts. So this the dots which I have tried to show, these dots indicate the interior surface of the superconductor, right? So suppose I say this is the value of magnetic field I have applied. On the left side, all the arrows are of same value, same magnitude, because this is the applied field. Now, according to London brothers, what happens the moment this magnetic field enters in the superconductor, slowly, can you see the value is decreasing? So this decay occurs. Why is this decay occurring? The decay is occurring because of the persistent current, property number 7 of superconductor. Because this persistent current will create internal magnetic field that will oppose this applied field. So the applied field is definitely going to decay if it enters the superconductor. So this distance from the surface where you get E times the applied field is what is known as lambda L. So I have written the value of magnetic field here will be 1 upon E times BA. BA is the applied field. I hope you've understood the diagram. Let me just try to brief it again. This is the value of applied field. The moment this magnetic field enters in the superconductor, there will be opposition. Where does this opposition come from? It comes from the induced current. It comes from the induced magnetic field which will oppose this. So according to Lenz's law, it is going to decay. So this decay, exactly where it decays, the distance of this point from the interior is known as penetration depth lambda L. Now let us go to the topic London equations. Now to prove this, to prove what is lambda L, to find out the equation of lambda L, they used Maxwell's equations. So let us just go through it quickly. London equations, the Maxwell's equation, only the Maxwell's equation if we consider, they cannot explain the existence of Mesmer effect and zero resistivity for superconducting materials. So in the year 1935, London brothers added two more equations to the existing Maxwell's equation and then they proved Mesmer effect and zero resistivity. So as I said earlier, they are proving Mesmer effect only but in some other way. So let us first consider the magnetic penetration depth in context of London theory. If a magnetic field is applied to a superconductor which was initially in zero magnetic field, the magnetic field will be a function of time. As time increases, magnetic field is going to penetrate. So magnetic field is going to change if time is increasing. Now, according to Maxwell's equation, now this is a standard Maxwell's equation. According to Maxwell's equation, this time varying magnetic field, because if there is a change in magnetic field, there will be a change in flux. So you have studied earlier that if there is a change in flux, a current is induced, EMF is induced. So this time varying magnetic field will vary the flux and that will give rise to an electric field. According to Maxwell's equation, this magnetic field is given by curl of E is equals to minus 1 upon C dB by dt. This is the electric field induced, B is the applied magnetic field, C is the speed of light. Now what do you mean by the term? Now this inverted triangle in and X. So inverted triangle and X. This term represents, we call it del X. This term represents curl of a quantity. What do you mean by curl of a quantity? First of all, let me give you a basic example. Suppose you have a tub of water. You just put a stone into it. Can you just see where when the position where you have thrown the stone, you can see waves generating in water because of that action. So you can define curl as it defines rotation of a vector field in 3D space. So in water, the waves which you see represent curl. So basically curl means how a quantity enters in a material and it spreads in the 3D space. So that spreading, that swirling action is what is known as curl. Later in maths, you will be studying curl and divergence in detail. This is just to brief you that del X means curl of a quantity. Because the Maxwell's equation has the term, I have just briefed you. Now, they used this equation to derive penetration depth. Now, in a normal metal, if we say that magnetic field, we have a time varying magnetic field, for a normal metal, we will be getting only eddy current. But because it is a superconductor, we will be getting persistent current, also called the supercurrent. Now, these supercurrents will produce a magnetic field of their own, means internal magnetic field, and this will oppose the applied magnetic field. This opposition leads to decay. Understood? If the applied field is weak, the magnetic field will be totally repelled from the superconductor, and this phenomenon is what is known as perfect diamagnetism. Now, out of the five magnetic materials, diamagnet is the only magnet which will oppose magnetic field. That is the reason we say that superconductors are diamagnetic in nature. Now let us start with London's equation. From the Newton's law, we say that the equation of motion For a superconducting carrier with a mass m and charge E in the presence of electric field is given as F is equals to m into A. That is m into dvs by dt is equals to minus E into E. Now the supercurrent density, this is the normal relation, F is equals to ma and F is equals to E into E. The negative sign denotes that force, that is the movement of electron, is opposite to electric field. The supercurrent density due to this field, you know the equation J, that is the current density I by A, J is equals to NEVD. So instead of N and Vd, we have just used Ns representing supercarrier density and Vs representing the velocity of superconducting carriers. Now comparing these two equations, we get djs upon dt is equals to ns e dvs by dt. Now djs by dt is equals to ns e square e upon m. This is known as the London's first equation. Now taking curl on both the sides, so curl means we'll be denoting inverted triangle x. So curl of djs by dt is equals to, now these are constant terms, so outside the curl into curl of E. Now using Maxwell's equation, which I had written earlier, we are using this equation. So instead of curl of E, I will be substituting minus 1 upon C dV by dt. Now this C I am taking on to LHS. So I have the equation mc upon ns E square curl of djs by dt plus dV by dt is equals to 0. Now they were actually obtaining Messner effect, that is B is equals to 0 for a superconductor. So they removed the time derivative terms. They only took for a particular instance. So I will be removing these time derivative terms, we will be left with mc upon ns E square curl of js plus B is equals to 0. This is what they termed as London's second equation. Now the supercurrent density is related to magnetic field by another Maxwell's equation. Again, this is Maxwell's equation number 2, where we have a relation between current density and magnetic field. So Js is equals to C upon 4 pi curl of B. This is a standard equation, you have to remember as it is. So let me call this equation as 7. So I will be substituting the value of Js from equation number 7 here. So you have mc upon ns E square curl of C upon 4 pi curl of B plus B is equals to 0. The constant term outside this, so mc square upon 4 pi ns E square curl of B plus B is equals to 0, where this term which you got is known as lambda L square, and we get lambda L is equals to square root of mc square upon 4 pi ns E square. Because we are taking curl of B, that is the reason we denote here lambda L square, and for obtaining the value of penetration depth, we take square root on both the sides. So from this equation, mass is a constant, speed of light is a constant, 4 pi is a constant, and E is a constant. So we can clearly say that the penetration depth is inversely proportional to square root of ns, means square root of superfluid density. So here I end my topic penetration depth. In the next lecture, we'll be discussing the applications of superconductors.